Today, we're going to be comparing the cameras on the iPhone 14 Pro versus the Samsung Galaxy S22 Plus. I do have my scooter back here, so I'm just going to ride around, take some pictures, and probably find somewhere to eat. All right, let's do a quick mic test. Testing 1 2 1 2. This is what it sounds like on an iPhone 14 Pro. Testing 1 2 1 2. This is what it sounds like on a Samsung Galaxy S22 Plus. I want to say that both of these phones are really great and they look good for everyday situations. The biggest difference that I can see is the colors and the color temperature. I would say on the iPhone, it does have more of a warm tone to their images. Whereas on a Galaxy, a lot of it is very saturated and it does look super contrasty, so I would say those images really pop well. If you plan to upload your images onto your social media, the Galaxy does have it ready for you already in a sense. But that really depends on a person because some do like the images off the iPhone better. Another thing to talk about is HDR. I would say they're both even because sometimes the iPhone does better and sometimes the Galaxy can do better. Now for action mode or super steady on a Galaxy, I do prefer on an iPhone to be better because it does have the better resolution and I think it's just a bit more stable when I'm jogging around. And I found some stairs, so I decided to do a little test on that as well. And one thing to notice on a Galaxy is a bit overexposed. I would say the iPhones does have it more controlled. Next up is cinematic mode or video portrait on the Galaxy, and they both work great on the front facing camera. It does detect myself very well, and it's not perfect. It does have some trouble trying to cut out my glasses and it does mess up around that area. But where the iPhone wins is when you switch over to the back camera, you can basically shoot cinematic or have blurry background for anything. Whereas on a Samsung, you need to have a face. Next up is the Telephoto. On the 3X, they both look very good, very similar in fact. The only difference here is the color temperature and the colors. Where you can start to see a bigger difference is 15X. On the iPhone, it does look better in terms of being cleaner, whereas on a Galaxy, to me, it looks a bit more digitized. But if you do want more zoom, the Galaxy does offer 30X. Shooting video on 3X look very great on both. The stabilization is really nice and smooth. I would say the Galaxy is just a bit brighter. For selfies, I noticed on the iPhone when I'm shooting in the shade, a lot of times I'm more on the coolish side, but it looks a bit faded. And for the Galaxy, I would say the colors are really consistent throughout. Now when we start to take selfies in low light, they're both pros and cons. I do like the clarity on a Galaxy, but the colors look very faded. Next up is portrait mode, and during selfies, it looks great for both, but I would say the iPhones, the cutout is a little bit iffy for me. I feel like the background blur is a little bit too artificial to the point where it doesn't look natural. Now moving on to the back camera, they both have 1X and 3X. I really like the new 2X option on the iPhone just because it does give that nice even ground when I'm trying to take a portrait picture of someone across the table. One thing to point out on a Galaxy is that the colors are too saturated sometimes, like my back strap looks too blue where it's supposed to be gray. And it's been like a year taking portrait modes on the Galaxy, and one thing I noticed a lot is shooting on 3X, it's very soft and a lot of times it misses focus or it looks too soft. Next up is the Instagram camera app, and when you're shooting video, there is no comparison. The iPhone will always win, especially when you start to save videos. On a lot of Android phones, the first few seconds, it's really pixelated and of course it's laggy as you can tell. As you can already tell, the colors on a Galaxy is very saturated, whereas on iPhone it looks very natural and more closer to the eye. And another thing is that when I'm zooming in, sometimes it's just way too fast where I can't control it, whereas on iPhone it's much smoother and of course it looks better zoomed in. Taking pictures is much better, but again, the colors are very saturated. It kind of looks too fake. Shooting in low light, the colors again are very different. The Galaxy is still punchy and really saturated. The bricks are more red. Even the sky looks more purple, and on iPhone it kind of looks more bland. And some people might like that look better. You probably noticed by now, but on the ultra wide, the iPhone is a bit wider, so if you're really in tight spaces, that one is the better wide camera to go with. Now with the regular wide camera, I would say the iPhone can handle the highlights much better, things do look more detailed, and it's not overexposed. For the overall colors during nighttime, I would say the Galaxy is more intriguing or closer to the eye because the tungsten lights you see throughout nighttime is really yellow and orange, so it does represent that really well during these pictures, but on the iPhone it's more bland and neutral. So those are just my thoughts and what I prefer throughout this comparison. Let me know which one you like and you prefer. If you want to see more comparisons of the iPhone series, I do have that compared to other phones, and I just got the Pixel 7 Pro in, so I am planning to do more comparisons with that. So check those videos out and come back to see more comparisons. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.